She stood at the edge, and the city lights below looked like tiny blinking stars, beautiful, distant, and cold. The wind pushed against her, pulling her hair back as if urging her to let go. And for a moment, she almost did. But then a small, trembling voice behind her whispered, "Miss, please don't jump." Those 5 words sliced through the storm inside her chest like sunlight cutting through dark clouds. The voice wasn't loud. It wasn't commanding. It was soft, innocent, and full of fear for her. That alone made her freeze. She didn't turn right away. She couldn't. Her knees felt weak, her breath short, her eyes burning. She had come to the rooftop to disappear without a sound, without a fight. But now someone had found her. Someone small. When she finally turned, her eyes widened. It wasn't a guard or a stranger, or anyone who might have followed her. It was a little boy no older than 7. He stood there holding a bright blue umbrella half his size, his oversized jacket dripping rainwater everywhere, and his big brown eyes filled with worry as he looked at her. "Please, don't go," he repeated. His voice cracked on the last word. Her throat tightened. Why are you here?" she managed to ask. "My dad? He's looking for someone." "But I saw you first," the boy whispered. "You look sad," a small word, but it hit her like a punch. No one in her life had noticed her sadness. Not her colleagues, not the people she helped every day, not even her family who only called when they needed something. She had been invisible for so long that she forgot what it felt like to be seen. She stepped away from the ledge, trembling. "It's late. You shouldn't be alone on the roof." "You shouldn't be alone either," he replied softly. A harsh breath left her lungs, somewhere between a laugh and a sob, and she wiped her eyes quickly, embarrassed. But the boy walked closer, carefully, as if she were a wounded animal who might run if he moved too fast. He offered her the umbrella. "Dad says, when someone cries, you shouldn't leave them." Her heart twisted painfully. She knelt down slowly so she could look him in the eyes. "What's your name?" "Adam," he whispered. "What's yours?" She hesitated. "Sarah." "Okay, Miss Sarah," he said, his voice steadier than before. "Will you come with me?" "My dad is downstairs. He can help. He always helps people." She looked at the stairs behind him, looked at the darkness in front of her, looked at the boy who shouldn't have been there but somehow arrived exactly when she needed someone. And suddenly, the weight on her chest felt a little less crushing. "I'll come," she whispered. Adam's face lit up with a relieved smile. "Good." He held out his tiny hand without hesitation, and for the first time in months, she felt the instinct to reach back. She took it. His small fingers wrapped around hers, warm, real, grounding. They walked toward the stairwell slowly, step by step. Every footstep away from the ledge felt like stepping back into a world she had already left in her mind. Adam held the umbrella over both of them even though they were indoors now. "Dad says sharing makes people feel better," he explained. She almost smiled. Almost. When they reached the bottom floor of the building, the lobby was empty except for a man pacing back and forth near the entrance. His uniform was simple construction work clothes, reflective stripes, mud-stained boots. He looked exhausted but alert, scanning every direction anxiously. When he finally saw Adam, he rushed over. "Adam, I told you not to run off like that." Then he noticed her. His scolding faded, replaced with confusion. And then worry. "Ma'am? Are you okay?" he asked gently. She opened her mouth, but words failed. All she managed was a tiny nod. Adam tugged his father's sleeve. "Dad, she was going to fall." I stopped her. The man's face changed instantly, shock, alarm, and a deep sadness that seemed to understand more than most people would. "Thank you, son," he whispered, patting Adam's head. Then he looked at her again with gentle eyes. "I'm Daniel. We won't ask you anything you don't want to answer. But you're safe now. You're not alone tonight." Something inside her cracked. For months she had been pretending, hiding, drowning silently. And now this father and son she had never met, were offering her a place to stand. Daniel stepped back a little, keeping distance but extending warmth. "Would you like to sit? I have my car outside. I can drive you somewhere safe. Or, if you just need someone to talk to, we can stay here." His voice was calm, not pitying, not dramatic. Just human. She blinked away tears and nodded weakly, her voice breaking. Can we sit for a moment?" Daniel nodded. "Of course." They sat on a small bench near the lobby wall. Adam stayed beside her, his hand resting on her arm as if protecting her from everything in the world. No one spoke at first. But somehow, the silence wasn't heavy. It was healing. And in that quiet moment, Sarah realized something shocking. The boy who stopped her, the father who offered help, they weren't just a coincidence. This meeting was going to change her life in ways she couldn't yet imagine. For a long moment, Sarah simply sat there breathing, trembling, feeling the world slowly settle around her again. The storm outside had quieted, but inside her chest it still raged. Daniel didn't push her. He didn't ask the obvious questions or demand explanations. He just sat nearby, giving her space while keeping his presence steady, like a lighthouse guiding someone back from dangerous waters. Adam leaned gently against her arm. "Miss Sarah, my dad makes warm chocolate milk when I get scared. It helps." His innocent voice made her eyes soften. "Does it really?" Adam nodded with absolute seriousness. "Every time." Daniel smiled quietly. "He's right. Would you like me to bring some? There's a 24-hour shop right across the street." Sarah shook her head quickly. "No. No, I don't want to cause trouble." "You're not," Daniel replied firmly. "Not tonight. Not ever." Something about his tone, calm but full of conviction, made her chest tighten again, but this time it wasn't hurt. It was something like relief. After a few minutes, Daniel stood. "If you're okay with it, we can walk outside. Fresh air helps more than people think." She hesitated, then nodded. Daniel kept a respectful distance while Adam clung to her side as if afraid she would vanish. Outside, the rain had faded into a soft drizzle. The street lights made the wet pavement shimmer like scattered diamonds. Sarah inhaled deeply, letting the cool air wash over her burning thoughts. Daniel opened his car door. "You don't have to go anywhere specific. But I don't feel right leaving you alone tonight. You can sit in the car until you feel better, or I can drive you home, or could we just drive a little?" She interrupted softly. "I don't want to go home yet." Daniel nodded. "Of course." She slid into the passenger seat while Adam hopped into the back, still holding the umbrella like a knight protecting a queen. As the car started moving, the world outside blurred into streaks of gold and blue. After a long silence, Sarah finally whispered, "I wasn't planning it for long. Tonight was just too much." Daniel didn't glance at her. He kept his eyes on the road, his voice low. "Bad days can lie. They tell you the world is smaller than it is." She swallowed hard. "It wasn't just one day." "I know," Daniel said softly. That simple acknowledgement made her chest collapse again. She covered her face with her hands. "I felt empty. Everything I've been doing, everything I've been trying for, it feels like it doesn't matter." Adam leaned forward from the back seat. "It matters to me," he said quietly. She looked back at him through watery eyes. "Why?" "Because if you weren't here, I wouldn't have met you." Her breath caught. Children had a way of telling the truth without knowing how deep their words went. Daniel exhaled. "You know, I almost lost someone once. My wife." Sarah looked up sharply. Daniel kept driving, the wipers clicking steadily. "She got sick. I tried everything I could. But some things we don't get to change." "I'm sorry," Sarah whispered. Daniel nodded. "Me too, but after she passed I made myself a promise. If I ever saw someone slipping the way she did quietly, invisibly, I wouldn't walk away." And suddenly, Sarah understood the tenderness in his eyes, the softness in his voice, the reason he hadn't judged her, questioned her, or treated her like a burden. He had seen this pain before. He had lived through it, and he refused to let it take someone else. The car slowed near a quiet riverside. Daniel parked and turned off the engine. "This is where I come when things feel heavy," he said. The river shimmered under the lights, calm and endless. They stepped out, the cool air brushing gently against them. Sarah wrapped her arms around herself. "I don't know what happens next." "You don't have to," Daniel replied. "You just have to keep breathing." They walked along the riverbank slowly. Adam held her hand without asking. Daniel walked on her other side, not touching her, but close enough that she felt safely surrounded. After a long silence, Sarah whispered, "Why did you help me?" Daniel looked at her with quiet honesty. "Because kindness should be louder than pain. Because my son saw someone hurting and didn't look away. Because you deserve more than what tonight tried to take from you." Her throat tightened again. No one had ever said something like that to her. Adam tugged her hand. "Miss Sarah, you're gonna be okay. Dad told me people like you, they shine later. Even if it's dark now." Tears streamed down her face before she could stop them. She crouched and hugged Adam tightly, burying her face in his shoulder. The little boy hugged her back just as hard. Daniel watched quietly, his eyes softening as the broken pieces inside her finally began to breathe again. When she stood, she wiped her face and whispered, "Thank you. Both of you. I think you saved my life tonight." Daniel shook his head gently. "No, you saved it. You chose to step back. We just held the light so you could see the path." For the first time in months, Sarah felt a flicker of something warm in her chest. Hope. A new beginning, a new connection. New story that had started on a rooftop with a little boy's trembling voice, and as they walked back toward the car together, She realized something she never expected sometimes. Strangers arrive at the exact moment your life needs to change, and sometimes, those strangers become the family your heart has been searching for.